This is that story show where we never wore a bike helmet. Hey, podcast people, I'm your host. My name is James Kennison.
And I am John Steinklaber. And today on That Story Show, our bike show, Tim almost kills himself flying off a 5-foot mound of dirt. Veronica shreds her knees and gets a real treat after the ER visit. Bill's brother finds delight at the fire safety highlight. AJ's bike meets a snowy plight. Shelby's tandem ride with love in view ends with pain and things askew. Asher had a crash on a concrete wall. A passport saves it all. Scott was egged on by a friend. He flew and crashed, but felt a hero's end. Myron's homemade toe straps tied him tight, leaving him stuck in the ditch that night.
This is not something you should do.
No, I think
but you
Dr.
did
Seuss wrote these.
Can you tell? Go ahead. Just leave off the last two and just read the rest of it, because we're not reading those last two stories.
All right. And for the patron bonus, wait, what? The last two that I just did?
No, just leave off drug dealer granddaughter Eden's homeschool drama.
Gotcha.
That's for a later date.
Okay. All right. And for the patron bonus show, stick around for Veronica's high heels and Drew's fibula fragments.
Sounds awesome. Today, as John mentioned, is our bicycle theme show, and we've been waiting for it for quite a bit. So thank you for joining us. We haven't done a bicycle theme show since 2007.
Whoa.
Episode, I want to say 16.
16.
Yeah.
Golly,
Yeah.
I wasn't even part of the show back then.
I wasn't even born then.
Man. I don't think anybody that listened to the show back then is around either. So this is perfect.
No, they're dead and in the grave, like we should be.
Oh, jeez. Our condolences.
We're too old to be doing podcasts. You know? Podcast is a young man's game.
Is it though? And so I let go, and I'm like, I'm too fast to be on the road. So I veer over trying to slow down, and I go into that median, and there was a bush. There was a bush there, and I hit that bush, and I flew over the handlebars and forward. But as I was doing that, a word came out of my mouth and I'm not allowed to repeat. And my friend's dad heard me, and he was also a member of our church. And so he had a lot of fun telling all of my family members and anybody that would listen to the story about the bush word that
oh my gosh,
came out of my mouth.
Dadgummit. It's his fault.
Yeah,
you can't be doing that to kids. Not these days.
Yeah, I mean, I was adult, see, because this weekly update happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I drove way down to St. Mary's. But what was the name of that neighborhood? I can't remember. Gosh. Anyways.
Wow.
You knew people that lived there.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And it was the cool place to live in St. Mary's, unless you lived in Point Peter. I can't remember the name of it either. It's weird.
I feel like it was Creekwood, but that's the road that I lived on. So it definitely wasn't that, but.
Let's share a review. This is from Uski, and this review is brought to you by podgagement.com. Amazing! 5 stars. This podcast is so hilarious. Podcast may contain childish humor, i.e. farts and poo and inside jokes from old episodes. P.S. I'm a middle schooler from Canada. We love our middle school listeners, and we love it when they leave amazing reviews. So
thank you.
Leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. It makes us really happy, and it really helps the show. Review.thatstoryshow.com. It's time for us to celebrate the LBB of the week.
One of the many tools of the devil.
All right, Marcelo writes in, I'm not sure if this counts as a bike story, but here it goes. 2 rules of bike riding is that you're supposed to ride with the flow of traffic, and 2, you do not ride your bike on the sidewalk. Those are the grown-up rules. Because kids probably shouldn't be on the road. And
True.
They should be on the sidewalk. So I was pulling out of my neighborhood in my car, and this guy was riding his bike against traffic and on the sidewalk, breaking both cardinal rules as he came off the one part of the sidewalk crossing the street where my car was sitting waiting for traffic so I could turn. He was angry that I was in his way. So as he rode his bike behind my car, he pounded bang, bang, bang on the trunk of my car with his fist. And he was yelling at me furiously in a language that I don't speak nor understand. Yeah. He continued to back up onto the sidewalk and kept on riding. So after I turned and drove down the street a bit, I was catching up near him. And he was still screaming at me. So I rolled down my window. I stuck up my tongue and went, yeah.
That's telling him.
I don't think that's what he expected me to do, because he had the most confused look on his face. And he quit yelling and kind of slowed down and let me pass. As I drove off laughing hysterically. I'm pretty sure that when my window rolled down, he was expecting a finger, not a tongue. Oh gosh, I did that to a guy, a homeless guy on a bike, and
Really?
I pulled out, and he was just riding along. I didn't see him, and so he rode behind me, but he stopped, and he got behind my car like he was waiting in line behind me, and then I felt it. He hit the back of my car with his bicycle wheel, and then took off. And I got out of the car. I'm like, what the heck? And I look, and sure enough, there's this little dirt mark that wiped right off of the black bumper. I'm like, what point did you prove?
He was passive aggressive.
If I had seen him, I would have slowed down. I would have stopped and let him pass. But I had already been there,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he was high. I don't know. Maybe he was mad. Maybe he
was that in your area?
Maybe he had. I don't know. It was not. Yes, actually, it was in Kansas City. So no, it was in St. Pete. It was in St. Petersburg.
Oh, a Florida guy.
Yeah, it was. And we have a lot of homeless in the wintertime because they come down there to survive. So the harsh weather.
Wait, they go back north when it's. The homeless people go back north during the winter. I mean, summer.
I'm just going to tell you, we had a lot more of them in the winter than we had the rest of the year. I don't know what they do, but
migratory homelessness.
Yeah, it makes sense if you think about it.
I mean,
sure. Let's do some featured stories.
Let me tell y'all a story. Let me tell y'all a story.
All right, this is Veronica, Rip Knee Reunion. I have never been the skinniest kid in class. When I was about 12, I was on a bike ride up the canyon to Girl Scout camp in Utah.
Ooh.
We had already ridden down the canyon, so I knew how far we had to go. I was out of breath, and I was dreading the upcoming uphill miles. I don't know whether it was my physical exhaustion or my mental exhaustion that contributed to it, but I absolutely wiped out at full speed going down a gravel-encrusted hill below a busy road.
Oh, no.
I have a vivid memory of looking up the instant after I crashed and seeing the silhouette of a girl behind me freeze-framed. She was at the crest of the hill, about to barrel down on top of me. She tried to avoid me, yet still crashed into me in the process. And after the dust settled, the other kids and the counselors were surrounding me with sympathy because both of my knees looked like fresh ground pork.
Ew, no. Why? Why that visual?
While I was high on adrenaline, the other girl was beside herself because she thought she had made my knees go into chopped liver and not the gravel. So luckily, we were just down the road from a fire station, so the two of us and a counselor walk-limped over there to wash off in the bathroom. The other girl went back to ride with the group, and I went with the camp counselor to the ER to get my knees looked at. What was left?
Your pork knees.
Weren't actively sliding down my shins and into my socks. I can still feel the steel wool exploring my knees.
What?
As the doctor cleaned out the embedded gravel.
Steel wool?
The metal sponge winded through the peaks and valleys of torn up skin and muscle.
I cannot.
My camp counselor reached out her hand when she saw me wincing, and I squeezed it so tight. To this day, my knees have cookie-sized scars.
Oh my goodness. What kind of cookies? Oreos or the big ones that you get from the
Yeah,
Mittens.
I'm sure their Oreo, they have a logo embedded in them, you
Yeah.
know,
It says
with all this
Utah.
graphic design going on. I'm sure that's what she meant.
It's just like
And
cookie
and
size.
if you scrape off the bandage, there's a cream filling. So.
Oh no!
Years later, when I was a CIT coordinator on staff at the same camp, I was telling this story to a fellow counselor. And I had said that I would never forget the sympathy of that camp counselor, how she had held my hand in the ER and brought me candy at the pharmacy where we were getting my prescription. The camp director interrupted me and asked what kind of candy I had gotten. And I said it was peanut butter M&Ms. And she said, I was that counselor. After 10 years, we had completely forgotten what each other looked like, but we both remembered the peanut M&Ms.
That's awesome.
Veronica.
Oh,
So, yeah,
Veronica.
Veronica's like, you remember me now? After she puts 2 uncooked hamburger patties on each knee.
Oh, I recognize you. Yeah.
Veronica. The girl with the torn up knees.
Yeah, it was like ground pork.
I still have scars on my hand from when you squeeze them so tight with your fingernails.
I can't use my thumb anymore. I'm surprised
bless
I
'em.
forgot what you looked like. Wow.
I'll never forget that counselor. That's
I'll
me.
never forget you.
Also me, camp counselor standing behind her. Yeah.
She had moved up from counselor to coordinator. Camp
Freaking coordinator of the whole camp director. She was camp director.
Camp director. Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. That's
All
a good
right.
story.
It's a good story, Veronica. Thanks for sending it in.
Yeah.
It's a good bike story.
I got a good bike story.
Okay.
And it involves a fire station, kind
Okay.
of. This comes from Bill in Indiana. So here we go. The church my family attended back in 1985 had a small private school for grades K through 8. My twin brother and I were in kindergarten at the time. And one day our school held a day for fire safety, quote unquote.
Ooh, those were the best days.
Weren't they? Because, I mean, you got out of class
Oh,
and you got to see the good stuff,
yeah.
everything. My favorite thing was when they would put the whole gear on.
Yeah.
And they would do that so that you wouldn't be afraid of them when they came to rescue you. But
Right.
was like,
Because they
man.
looked like monsters.
they did, and they got the all that stuff.
Yeah, a little Darth Vader thing going on.
Right. And the little that was cool. I enjoyed Fire Safety Day in my little Christian school when I was a kid too. Well, the local fire department came with their truck and gear to educate us about the dangers of fire and the importance of fire safety. And at the beginning of the day's events, they held a pep rally of sorts to explain what we would be doing throughout the day and to reveal that there was going to be a prize given away at the end of the day.
What did we miss out on, John? There's so many perks to being born in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
But our fire department came and like showed us their truck.
Yeah.
And there was no pep rally.
No.
There was no prize. The
No.
prize was we got to meet a firefighter.
That was a
Anyway.
prize.
I
mean,
know.
and this is 1985. So
What
I
the
think you know what we
heck?
missed out on, James?
Being
We
in a
didn't grow up
rich,
in.
rich area.
Yeah. I was going to say we didn't grow up in Indiana because apparently in Indiana, they
had
do it
going
differently.
on. Yeah. I forgot about the 1985 part. I was trying to blast on the kids of the day, but no, they had it together. 1985, I was like wishing I had a 4x4. You know?
I was 10, so I was wishing I had a candy bar or something.
a whatchamacallit. Those
A
were new,
whatchamacallit.
yeah.
That's right. Or a Snickers. Whatchamacallit. Probably was whatchamacallit though. That would have been, yeah. But you know what the prize was that they were giving away, that these firemen were giving away?
No.
James, it was a brand new BMX bicycle.
A BMX. Those
A
were the only
BMX.
good bicycles you could have as a kid in the 80s.
That would, in the 80s, a BMX bicycle was the greatest status symbol, especially if you had one with the mag wheels. Do you remember the mags?
Oh yeah, they were plastic
They're
instead
plastic
of spokes.
instead of metal spokes. Is a plastic spokes. Dude,
So do you know
those
what
things.
MX or BMX stands for?
I did at one point.
I don't either. I have no
Oh.
idea.
Google it quick. What does it say?
What did BMX stand for? I think it was just random. It just sounded cool. It was like the .com of that day. I don't know. What was
No,
it?
here's what it stands for.
Okay.
Bicycle Motocross, BMX.
Oh, it was for
Yeah.
something cool.
It was an abbreviation. It's a cycle sport performed on BMX bike, either in
That's
competitive
cool.
BMX racing or freestyle BMX.
See, my cousin was into BMX racing, and he had a dirt track with
Oh.
with little mountains and little valleys and
Yeah.
little banks and turns and stuff. And then he moved
Bicycle.
into motorcycling, and he just turned it into a bigger track. But
Exactly.
he
Yep.
started on BMX bicycles. That's crazy. I mean, what is it? Bicycle machine? What?
Bicycle Motocross.
Motocross.
Yeah. So
BMX
basically-
cross. So it's really BM cross.
BM Cross Bicycle.
We were saying
That's-
it wrong all
yeah.
these years.
Yeah. BMX bike, BM. I'm going
Freaking
to keep
lucky
saying
kids.
BM. Yeah. This was-
Indiana kids.
Yeah. It wasn't just a plane. It was brand new and it was all black with gold pinstriping.
Oh, this is from a movie.
I know it, right? I bet you it had the black mags and it had the seats. And it probably even had the pegs. Remember getting pegs on the back
Oh.
of your front of bike, just depending on how cool you
I
were?
never had pegs.
I never did either.
I missed out on pegs.
I wanted them so bad, but I never got to have them either. Well, needless to say, we were all in awe of the thought of winning such a great prize. The day was filled with fun activities as we learned about what firefighters do, what gear they had to keep them safe, and what they used to put out fires. It was so much fun seeing the big red truck and getting to sit on it and even hear the siren howl and watch the lights flash. It was almost enough to make us forget about that awesome prize. Almost.
Almost.
As the day concluded, we all gathered back for the closing activities. Much hype was presented as they prepared to draw the winning name from the hat. We all sat at the edge of our seats, eager to hear our name called. Finally, a slip of paper was pulled, opened, and they called out my twin brother's name.
Oh.
He was shocked to hear that he had won. I still remember the look on his face as he went forward to claim his prize. Of course, I was jealous that he won the bike and
Yeah.
not me, but I couldn't help but be excited that such a cool prize was coming to our home with us.
Yeah.
Such an awesome memory. My brother and I put lots of miles on that bike over the years. Love the show, guys. Thank you, Bill from Indiana. That was a great story.
Yeah, Bill, man. Oh,
Made me want a BMX bike all over again.
I know, right? Do they even make those for adults anymore? I'm sure
Sure.
BMX racing is still a thing, and I'm sure it's,
It's
not
still a
just for
thing.
teenagers.
Yeah. No, the
Dang.
big brands when I was a kid was Mongoose, GT, and Diamondback. Now,
Wow. When
The
I was a
interesting-
kid, Huffy was all that I saw.
Huffy, that's what I had. A Huffy. Nowadays, like Diamondback and Mongoose, you can buy them at Walmart.
Walmart.
Yep.
I paid so much money for a mongoose one time. So much money. And then, yeah, years later, I'm going through and it's like, this is a Walmart bike. What the heck?
Yeah. Mongoose, man. That was the name brand. Mongoose with yellow mags. My cousin had one. It's
Ugh.
like so jealous.
Ugh.
But yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Bill brings up a good point, though. And people have done this for years with kids, is when you give a prize, you can't give a prize that is so wonderful that one kid's life is made perfect and all the other kids' lives is ruined.
Made envious.
No, I mean ruined. Like kids will cry.
Yeah.
And maybe they didn't care back in 1985. Nobody cared if kids cried back then, but
That's true.
in my children's church, at least, I was a little more fair. Like everybody started by winning a prize. You could only
Oh.
lose the prize if you were bad, and then we weren't taking it from you. You were telling us you didn't want it.
Huh.
And whenever we did do a drawing or something, it was just good enough to want, but not so great that first your parents could pocket. I worked in the inner city church, so we weren't giving away any Segas or anything like that back then. Because
BMX bikes.
I'm gonna pay the electric bill with that Sega. So,
Mm.
but we would have to give away something that wouldn't break the freaking kids' hearts, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, bicycles were definitely not something we gave away for drawings. Now we did Christmas wish trees and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
we hook kids up.
Mm.
I had to keep freaking a hamster in my office for a week because
What?
this little girl asked for a hamster for Christmas, and I had to take care of the hamster until it was Christmas Eve and take it to her house.
Man, I hope that the parents of said little girl approved such a gift.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We were in tune with everybody, and it had a pink cage. I got her a pink cage for her little hamster. So
I wonder if she still has it.
I don't think
The cage
hamster
that
is alive. Yeah, I was a good little children's pastor. Anyway, this is called Snowball Smash, and it is my favorite story.
Okay.
It's from James from Glasgow, Kentucky. Way back in the day, my friends and I would race our BMX bikes through the neighborhood until the streetlights came on. Most of us were in middle school, junior high back then, but one of the kids was an 18-year-old high school graduate named AJ.
Wow.
While my middle school friends and I all rode standard BMX bikes, AJ had a much bigger bike. He would always brag about the fact that it was a 10-speed and how expensive it was and how he had special thinner tires that made it so he could go faster. Looking back, I think it was a little odd for AJ to be hanging out with us so much. Yeah. AJ,
He needed that for his ego.
AJ peaked in high school. He needed to be cool in front of the other kids. Yeah, AJ probably still lives in that same cul-de-sac with his mom, okay? And he's got that same 10 speed, and he's still bragging about it to this day.
Things custom. I go fast on this.
I go fast. Gotta go fast. Anyway, it was Christmas break in Southwest Wisconsin State, and we were blessed with about 8 inches of snow, which is considered a lot for that area. My friends and I tried to make the biggest snowball we could, which ended up being 2 foot tall before we could not move it anymore.
That is at the base of a snowman.
That is great. It's the biggest snowball I've ever heard of. Well, anyway, AJ wasn't around when we rolled this snowball down the sidewalk, and the next day we told him about it. And AJ gets this big grin on his face and exclaimed, "I'm going to slice it in half with my bike."
AJ watched too many cartoons.
Yes, he did.
I have a feeling this isn't
I
gonna
told
be
you he peaked in high school. Apparently
I'm gonna
not very
slice
smart
it.
either.
That's all the education he got.
So he races off at it at full speed. Well, it turns out the giant snowballs aren't as soft and fluffy as the cartoons make them out to be. You call it, John. This snowball was hard packed. AJ hit that thing at nearly full speed, and he flies right over the handlebars face first into the snow-covered sidewalk.
Ouch.
It's like landing on 80 grit sandpaper right there.
Yeah. But it had snow on the sidewalk, hopefully.
Well, snow is like 80 grit sandpaper. Have you ever been in the snow?
Not much.
It's not as fluffy as the cartoons would lead you to believe, is what I'm saying. A few seconds later, he gets up from a now bright red patch of snow.
Oh.
He staggers over to his bike and he yells, "My bike! You jerks broke my bike!"
Oh, man.
His front wheel was completely smashed and bent. He hobbles off, dragging his bike, and we can hear him muttering some big high school words we had never heard before. Hey, it wasn't our fault. We didn't tell him to ride his bike into what was essentially a giant ice ball.
The AJ.
I hope this makes it on the show. There we go. I love the theme shows. I think they're a great way to help people remember stories they haven't thought of for a long time, like this one. Thanks for all the work you guys do putting on these shows. James from Glasgow. Thank you, buddy.
That was great.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for sending in a great story. Yeah, people that know ice or don't know snow don't know how sucky snow is. You know,
Yeah.
in the South, it comes once every 10 years for like
Yeah.
15 minutes, you know, and it melts by the time the snow comes up or the sun comes up. My wife has all these beautiful stories of snow, you know, because she grew up in Pennsylvania and they sledded and they made snowmen and all this kind of stuff. I moved here to the Midwest as an adult, and snow is terrible. It is the
Everybody hates
worst.
it. Yeah.
Driving stinks. Shoveling it stinks. Slipping in it stinks, and it is like little shards of ice. It is not this
Yeah, that's essentially
beautiful,
it.
wonderfully stuffy stuff. I mean, as soon as you hard pack it and you throw a snowball at somebody, it hurts. So
Yeah.
and I don't know why he was riding a 10-speed in 8 inches of snow anyway.
Yeah, that it's AJ. This is AJ we're talking about.
Yeah, that's true. You know,
I
old
mean-
AJ,
He blamed them for breaking his bike.
not the brightest duck on the pond.
Oh, AJ. He's going to
Anyway.
find the show and he's going to be like, no, they really did talk me into it. It's James from Glasgow's fault.
All right, hit us with another story, John.
All right, Tandem Teens. This comes to us from our friend Shelby in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
This is another great story, by the way.
Yes, it is. Here is a story from when me and my husband went on our first trip together back when we were dating. We went to Florida. I have this thing with trips where we do one thing planned for each day, or it won't feel like it's a vacation.
Yeah, my wife's like that, dude. I have to demand a down day.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll go to Disney World every freaking day that we're there or
Yeah.
we will go hiking every day and swimming and some sort of snorkeling adventure. And so I feel that.
So what's a down day look like to you? Because I
Where
don't
we
think
stay in the hotel
in the hotel.
and
Just-
then we can go out and eat and stuff, but we're just going to rest. We're
Just
gonna
rest.
up.
you do the down day in the middle of your vacation or at
Yes.
the beginning or at the end?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's my vacation. Yeah.
Yeah. I got you. I can dig that. And usually when we go on quote unquote vacation, it's like somewhere family is already. So we're actually staying at their house. So
That's
Uh,
not vacation. That's a family trip.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't go on vacation very often.
There you go. Once your kids are gone, you'll have a chance.
Yeah.
And you can get a special, wonderful day where every day is an adventure.
Okay.
Kind of like this story.
That story on this fateful day, James, they were in Destin, Florida. Have you ever been to Destin?
I have actually
Yeah.
in the Panhandle, right?
Yeah.
It's part of the Redneck Riviera.
Yes. Destin is. Yeah, that's why it sounds so familiar. Yep, it's right down there.
Yeah,
It's
we
like
went
the first
there this
beach you can
past
get
summer. Yeah.
to. Okay. Yeah, up on the oh gosh, is it the A1A or
I don't even remember.
A1A is on
I had never been in the
East Florida.
Panhandle before that day,
Okay.
before that trip. Like there's straight Florida, straight up and down Florida.
Yeah.
And that's the only Florida I knew.
Yep. That well, and
Side to side Florida, I don't know. I
It's
didn't
a
even
little
know
different.
That was the Panhandle. People had been talking about the Panhandle, and I'm like, Florida's not shaped like a pan. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And,
the Panhandle. It's the area above the Gulf of Mexico.
I mean, I guess if you were holding a pan and the handle broke and the pan was still hanging, then it would look like Florida.
yeah, like what's hanging off the bottom of that pan that creates the Florida peninsula that we're so used to. I don't know.
That would be the pan. That would be the pan broken.
Oh yeah, okay, gotcha. That it flopped over.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. I got
Yeah.
you now.
It's kind of what I had said.
Like
Yeah.
Oklahoma has a panhandle
Clearly.
too, doesn't it?
I-
Isn't that the toothbrush looking state, Oklahoma?
Yes,
panhandle
and
that goes-
they
yeah.
have a panhandle, and it makes
Yeah.
sense to call it a panhandle because it looks like you could put it on like a hat, like a
Yeah.
freaking not Jackie Chan. Who am I thinking? Johnny Appleseed.
Johnny
I
Appleseed or
get the
Daniel
two
Boone.
confused quite often.
Yeah, Jackie Chan, Johnny Appleseed. There's
Johnny Appleseed was kicking butt and taking names, and Jackie Chan planted a bunch of orchards.
yeah, you got that close.
Yeah,
Maybe Florida got jealous and they're like, we need a panhandle too. And they
Yeah,
took it
maybe
from
they just
Alabama or something.
tagged it on.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think Florida
anywho.
just got left with all the land that Georgia and Alabama hated.
That's right.
Because Florida started from the bottom up. I mean, is there any doubt that it started from the bottom and worked its way up. Because you think about the biggest cities. I mean, Georgia came down a little bit, but the Spanish influence starts, at the coast and then the down part of it. So
yeah,
anyway,
that's a good point.
The middle and the top didn't take off. You can pinpoint it to when they popularized home air conditioning. That's why all of Lakeland, you're familiar with Lakeland, looks like it was built in the 50s because it was.
Yeah,
because that's when all the people moved there and needed a Dairy Queen,
What should we call this Providence that we have found? Let's call it Lakeland. It's got a bunch of lakes.
It's got a bunch of lakes.
Yeah, there's one everywhere.
And if you look at Lakeland from the air, like from Google Maps, with the satellite turned on, all of the lakes are perfectly round because they're all sinkholes.
That's a good point. Yeah,
it is.
Florida is the sinkhole state.
Yeah,
that's another story for another time. Well, back to Shelby's from Oklahoma's story. They were in Destin. They decided that they were going to get a tandem bike. You know what that is, James? A tandem bike?
It's a bicycle built for two.
Built for two. One's up front and the other's in the back. They were going to have a romantic ride for two down to the beach. Mind you, I've never ridden a tandem bike before. We got to the hotel and got ready to go to the beach. And by the time we got back on the bike for our ride, it was already 5 o'clock. And you know what comes with 5 o'clock? Traffic.
Shadow. Oh.
Yeah. There's a 5 o'clock shadow, but this was 5 o'clock traffic.
Okay. My bad.
So we decided to ride along the sidewalk until we were able to safely cross the road. We were biking in front of a gas station and this SUV stops. And my husband, who was at that time my boyfriend, thought the SUV saw us. So he, being on the front of the bike, started biking because we had slowed down for the car. But the driver did not see two teenagers on a massive tandem bike. No, sir. So he started pulling out.
Oh,
my honey, she says, sees him move with us still in front of the vehicle, and he starts pedaling faster. Now, he cleared the SUV, but that put me right in the middle of the front of the car, and I got bumped into the road. I fell off of the bike into oncoming traffic.
Oh, my gosh.
Thankful that the driver saw me fall. He stopped traffic.
Oh,
my
good.
loving husband, who is an avid biker and has been hit by many a car, turns his loving eyes towards me and says, "Get up, you're going to get hit by a car." And at the time we didn't know, but my knee was really messed up.
It was broken.
It was broken.
Why did you not read that?
My knee had been broken. I'm sorry. I was going to save that dramatic piece for the end.
No, you have to read it as it says.
I'm sorry. I would take creative license. Okay. At the time, we didn't know it, but my knee had been broken. I looked up and all I could say is, "I can't." And this man whom I love so much says, "No, seriously, get up." Lucky for me, there were firemen who were staying at a hotel that was located behind the gas station, and they came over to help. A fireman came over to me and lifted me up out of the road.
Oh.
And you should have seen the daggers my boyfriend was shooting at this fireman.
He deserved that.
Man, get up. You're going to get hit by a car.
The theme from Bodyguard is playing,
Anaya. He set me up on the curb and then got the mangled bike out of the road. We went to urgent care. They gave me painkillers. And not to be deterred, we continued our vacation with me on painkillers.
And a broken knee.
Once we got home, we found out that indeed I had broke my knee. And now I have 5 screws in my knee. 5, James. 5 screws in my knee as a little memento of this adventure.
5 screws.
5. Hope this makes it on the show.
Oh.
Have a blessed day.
Have
Shelby
a
from
blessed
Tulsa.
day yourself, Shelby, telling us
Yeah.
about your screws. How does that work?
I don't know.
Because, okay, I'm still a child in so many ways, right?
Yeah.
And so to me, a knee is the wiggle part.
Right. The patella, the little piece that moves around.
The little kneecap. That's what a knee is to me. I hurt my knee. Mommy, I fell and scraped my knee. Now I know as an adult that the knee is this whole thing. There's a meniscus, there's a cup and a ball and this whole thing. I know because one of mine hurts me when I go up the stairs. And and so where are the screws? They're not getting scraped upon. You know what I'm saying?
Where
If it's
did they
just
put
the
them?
kneecap, how many screws does it take to put a kneecap back together? Secondly, if it's not, how do you keep them free from poking out?
The other side of I have a feeling that one of the bones, either the
fibula or the tibia. Fibula or the tibula.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or the femur bone. Maybe something on the femur bone cracked and had to be, I don't know. Shelby, if you want to send information on how that works.
Send us some photos of your x-ray.
Yeah, that would work. And I'm sorry about your vacation.
John also off the air asked for pictures of your knee scars. Who are you earlier in the show? Veronica.
Veronica.
He wants to see your cookie scars. So
did I?
Remember when you said that?
I don't, but I will. I am interested to see because are they the size of
He wants to know if they look like Oreos. So that was his big thing.
Are they Oreos or chocolate chip, or maybe they're like the peanut butter cookies that have the little crosshatch design on the top? Just curious.
Did you put a fork
into
the top?
Sprinkle a little sugar on it.
Yeah. This is from Asher from White Salmon, Washington. Sorry, I can't read. Passport protection is what it's called. The other day, I had to go and renew my passport in a nearby town. And after my appointment, I was done, and I figured I'd go explore the city and see what I could ride my bike on. This is not unusual because I ride street BMX. Yeah! And I don't know what that stands for. Oh, yeah!
Bicycle motocross.
Skateboarding on a bike. You didn't need to explain it to us. We know what BMX is. We knew about it before your parents were born.
We invented it, maybe.
Right. We jumped off jumps and we put plywood on concrete blocks and we did cool stuff and fell off a lot and hurt ourselves. So anyway, he found a good spot down the hills a little ways. Someone's front yard was being supported by a big concrete retaining wall that was slightly slanted, which I thought would be fun to ride. The top had a pretty sharp corner to it, but I wasn't weary of it as I should have been. Leery is the word you're looking for. I warmed up with a few basic tricks and I got used to the texture of the wall. And by the way, he's talking about wall riding. This was not something that we did back in our day. There was no such thing. We didn't even think of it.
No, so he is pretty extreme with his BMX skills.
Oh, heck yeah. Everything's so extreme. It should be BMX XX. It's so extreme it's offensive. So
that's good. So extreme is offensive.
So anyway, I set up my camera to do film some more technical tricks. So I was getting closer and closer to landing this trick. And after about 15 tries, I was going back up the wall on my bike and both tires slipped out from under me. Ooh. That's because you're riding up a wall, you moron.
He's got his camera though. We can see this happen.
Yeah, that's true. Do you have a video? Do you have a video?
Asher, send it.
Send the video. Send the video, please.
Is it nlcast.com?
Yes. NLcast, that story show at gmail.com, whatever you want to do.
Sorry.
It slipped out from under me as we happened to have multiple times. This time though, I didn't have time or space to jump clear of the bike or the wall, but instead I slammed into it sideways and my upper thigh came sharp contact with the top corner of that wall that I wasn't weary of before. Now I am weary of it and leery. I immediately knew this was going to hurt and bruise pretty badly. I stumbled around thinking maybe I could walk it off, but I ended up needing to sit down. And I turned off the camera because it wasn't fun anymore. You should have live streamed it. The pain was ebbing away faster than I thought it would have, though. So I reached down and I felt the area on my leg a bit. Suddenly, I realized my passport book was in the pocket over my leg. I took it out, and there was a major crease across the width of the book, putting a zigzag in the binding and saving me from what was surely going to be a serious injury.
Man.
You know, the movies, when they get shot and they fall down and they get up and their marshal badge saved them.
Yeah,
Or a phone saved them.
Yeah, the bullets in the phone.
Yeah. I never fell for that, but this is kind of proven that it's possibly true.
Right.
You remember when I put a book in my pants?
Yeah.
In the story?
Yeah.
So it would help me not get a spanking that hurt? Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't want to do the pain dance, so I put a book in my pants. Yeah. This is one instance where a book in the pants actually did save him from doing the pain dance.
Yeah. You know what?
Congratulations, Asher.
Maybe he got that advice from you. Actually, no, he didn't, because he would have used a bigger book. But James, you know what would have saved you from doing the pain dance?
What?
Passports. You should have put passports in your pants.
I should have had it. When my mom came, my mom was a big lady. She came up with that belt. I should have said to somebody, we're going to need a bigger book.
We're going to need a bigger book. If you know that reference, you're awesome.
Can I get the S encyclopedia from the World Book Encyclopedias that you bought?
Yeah.
From a salesman last year, you know?
Door-to-door salesman selling encyclopedias.
That was our internet, John.
Yep. Yes, it was. It was
World Book Encyclopedia.
Analog internet, as I like to call it.
Oh. All right, shoot us up the ramp of respect.
Oh, the ramp of respect. This is a long one, James, so buckle up. This comes to us from Scott in Lexington, Virginia. When I was young, living in Seattle, Washington, and unknowing of life and impressionable, as he puts in quotes, stupid. Actually, that's an ellipses weather. Stupid, impressionable, young and impressionable, also known as stupid. I tried to impress others. And in this instance, it was the neighbor. I wanted to impress my neighbor. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
We got out our Schwinns one day.
What?
And James, he wants us to...
Wait, stop. Stop right there. I did not apparently censor this. What did you just say?
Yeah, we got out our Schwinns.
No. Let me see how that's spelled. SCHWINNS. Oh, wait a minute. Those were bikes.
Yeah.
What did you think I was talking about?
I don't know. Maybe you thought they were talking about their shoes.
He did say, please explain what a Schwinn is. John, you want to do the honors or do we want to tag team it?
I think we should tag team this.
Okay, you start.
So when
they were amazing before the days of BMX.
Before the days of the BMX, there was the Schwinn.
The Schwinn.
And when I was a child, actually my first bike without training wheels was a Schwinn.
A Schwinn.
It was a small kind of goldenish bike. Now, I always thought in my mind the Schwinn was what my grandparents would have rode as a bike.
But no.
That's not exactly the case. But a Schwinn was a brand name.
Yes.
And it was ornate, wasn't it? Wouldn't you call it ornate?
It was so sweet. It had a banana seat.
The banana seat. Explain what the banana seat's all about.
It was like a seat, but it was more seat. And you could have your sister or friend ride behind you.
Yeah. And they would fit because it was a long seat.
Or you could sit way back on it because the handlebars were what, John?
They had these, I would call them ape hangers. If you're familiar with Harleys and the motorcycles.
Like a motorcycle.
Like a chopper.
Yeah.
Those handlebars would go way up in the air.
Yes. Or you could pivot them down and out.
Yeah.
So
which is what I would do.
Way back on the bike. Yeah.
Loosen that nut up on the front of the bike and just lower that handlebar back. that would help you to customize the way that bike rides.
Yeah.
Huh?
And did yours have tassels?
I did not have tassels because my bike was a hand-me-down. I don't even know where I got it from, to be honest.
Some of them had tassels coming out of the
Yeah,
handlebar.
little tassels on the white plastic handlebar grips.
Yeah.
Yep. To give you kind of an idea, if you've seen like a beachcomber bike where the frame kind of has like extra bars on it, so to speak, that's kind of what a Schwinn. But just Google it.
Just Google it.
Just Google it.
It was the coolest bike in the world.
It was a very nice bike. But no, it's not made for like riding, BMX.
But you could put up to 2 friends on this thing with you, because one could ride on the handlebars and one could ride behind you.
Yeah. Sometimes the kids would have a basket on the front of their Schwinn.
Yes.
You can put your homework or something in.
Yeah.
And mine had like a little thing over the back tire. Oh, they had fenders too. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The fenders.
And a chain guard.
And a chain guard.
Speaking of which, I want you to listen to this and tell me if it brings back any memories.
Yeah.
So what is that the sound of, John?
That is the sound of your chain rubbing against your chain guard, isn't it?
Because it's an old bicycle. It's
an
a piece
old
of crap.
bike. And whoever put the bike away last, they leaned it up on something, and that chain guard got a little bit dented, and it was pressing into the chains.
Yeah. Sometimes the pedal would grind against the chain guard too,
Yep.
So it could have been either one of those. Here, what about this one?
That's a bike pump. Yeah, you're pumping those tires up.
Yeah, had to make sure. We never knew how much air was supposed to get in them. I just know that you would just put so much in until you couldn't even pinch it.
Right.
And the tubes would explode, and then I don't know. And then what about this sound here? Let's see if you can hear this. Let me play it again. It's kind of an awkward one, but you'll know it when I say it. That, my friend, is the coolest trick that we knew how to do on a bike. The skid.
The skid.
And if you were really cool, you did the skid like they did at the end of E.T. when they were flying in the air. You remember that moment?
Yep.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
In the theater, and the bikes started taking off, and the cops with the shotguns didn't even shoot the kids down out of the air, and they're flying.
They wouldn't do that.
And one kid's like, "Oh, I can't look." And they landed, and each of them skidded into place.
A side skid.
It was the raddest part of that movie.
Dude. I could feel that moment. And I'm feeling quite nostalgic now. I don't know if I can finish the story.
Well, I think we can together.
Okay.
I'll read one paragraph. You read one paragraph, because it is long as crap.
All right. Well, we've explained the Schwinn.
Right.
And so they were headed to their neighborhood ring. And this was a dirt track that was oval, like a racetrack. And it was used by horse trainers and general equestrians of all sorts. And there was a horse barn near the track.
I was about 9 or 10 and of average height. My neighbor was about 14 or 15 and very tall. My Schwinn was comfortable with a banana seat, a holder bar for the back seat. Oh, I forgot about that part. The little ring that came up somebody could hold on behind them. Yeah.
Or like if you had friends that was on roller skates, they could hold on to the holder bar. And
you could put your nameplate on the back of it.
Yes.
Because they would sell those, and they always were sold out of James's.
We didn't get that part when I was a kid.
The little license plates that you could put on the back of your.
Yeah, I never got one.
Oh man, I never got one either. But that's because they were always sold out.
Or that's what they told you.
I had a card with a clothespin to make it sound cool.
Yes.
And because
steal one of the playing cards.
Yeah, I was proud of my psychedelic bike.
Yes, sounds like that. My friend's bike was cool too. But he didn't have the cool noise like mine does, because what you do with that card, right? You'd stick it just a little bit into the spokes, and you'd use that clothespin to hold it onto the back of the frame of the bike.
Yeah.
And the
I
faster
wish I had
you
that sound.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was pretty awesome. Yeah, but my friend's bike, it didn't have that. He was a teenager and noisemakers were for kids. Also, his bike was tall and he had the cool biker handlebars, the kind that reach high over your head and out in front like a chopper motorcycle.
We rode around the track a few times, and my friend saw an old wood jump in the long grass in the middle of the ring. He decided he wanted to fly high, but not me. I was scared.
Well, he set up the jump anyway, which was about 1.5 feet high in the middle of the path, and then began to ride around the ring, building a bit of speed. He even passed the jump. I may have yelled something like, "You're crazy!" After a good lap and a good amount of speed, he rode up the jump, flew a while, and then landed with style.
Certainly he had done this before. Evil Knievel would have been proud, and only heaven knows I was a bit envious, but I wasn't about to tell him. When he stopped, he was raving about how fun and easy it was, and then he egged me on.
Now, James, to egg someone on means to encourage, provoke, or urge someone to do something, often in a mischievous and reckless manner. This phrase is used when someone pushes someone else to take action or make a decision, even if it might be not the wisest choice. Egging on someone can be done through persuasion or taunting, and that's what we know at 63. 63, by the way.
It's good that he explained it, though, because I forget that we have youngsters, and to egg someone on would mean nothing if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh no, I was scared. That jump was 1/3 of my height. Besides, I was too young to die.
But of course, after 3 or 4 or 20 tries, I finally gave in. But my bike was too sissy, and I had to ride
There's
his
a word
bike.
I haven't heard for a while.
Yeah. Can you explain sissy?
I don't like that word.
I know some people call their daughters sissy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My mom would not have that, by the way. But no, sissy, I don't know if people call it sissies, but it was a boy that was like a girl. And so
Yeah.
it's so out of style now because being a girl is not necessarily bad. But when we were boys, if you acted like a girl,
Yeah.
it was the worst thing ever that you could do because girls sucked.
That's right.
They were stupid
sissies.
and dumb, and you were a sissy if you were too scared to do something like
Yeah.
the dumb girl.
This is making me think of the Christmas Story vibes where the boys are egging the guy on to stick his tongue
What
to
they
the
say? Are you yellow?
Yeah, you yellow.
Yeah.
Double dog dare ya.
Well, in our
Triple dog
days,
dare ya.
you were a sissy.
Yeah, sissy. And so because my bike was sissy, I had to ride his bike. So he held the Schwinn as I climbed up on top of the seat, barely reaching the pedals with my toes, and then looking up to see the handlebars were actually in the clouds above me. I reached up and I think my fingers touched the handles, but with a push from him, I was off. With much wobbling, I got the first lap completed. The second lap built some momentum, but the third lap got me going with a bit of confidence. The fourth lap, though, that got him yelling for me to jump. But this did not help my nerves. But lap 5 was going to be it. But 5 came and went, and so did 6.
Lap 7 was here now. And I was determined. I mustered a bit more speed with my toes, which was how I was pedaling. And now I know it wasn't enough. I approached the ramp and stopped pedaling. Another mistake. I hit the ramp and the bike began to rise. But with the grace of a penguin, I landed nose front tire first. I rode around the rink for about 1/4 of the distance like this with my butt in the air and my front wheel on the ground. It seemed to me like I might have been doing it on purpose. But I was too scared to know what I was doing. I must have crashed in the tall grass on the side. The bike was undamaged, thank God. All I remember is that my friend came over wide-eyed with a smile, not caring if I was injured, and said, "That was great." He bellowed like I was deaf.
My leg, arm, and head were hurting, but I was a hero. If not in the neighborhood, at least in my mind.
That's right.
We walked our bikes home, me with a slight limp. And at 63 years, this is my memory. True or hyped up, it is my adventure and my memory.
Scott, thank you so much for sharing that
That's
story,
a great
man.
story.
It was long, but it was worth it. Was
It totally was.
And you helped us remember Schwinn's, man.
Yeah, you might have introduced Schwinn's to a whole new generation, Scott.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the kids need to
bet
Google
you find one of those jokers now in a antique store or flea market. They'd probably charge you several $100s for that joker, if not $1,000 for one in a good shape. But
oh man, I wish I still had the one that I had as a kid. It went fast. It had like big white walls on the tires.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
It was a black tire, but it had white walls on it. It came straight from the 50s. It probably was my dad's bike when he was a kid. I have no idea.
Who knows, man? I don't remember how I got mine because we were not wealthy. But anyway. Scratch made shoe straps from Myron in Sugar Creek, Ohio. This is probably my first favorite story. Anyway, years ago when my twin brother and I were in high school,
twins again,
twin brother show. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a small group of friends. One day we were talking about riding bikes, and my brother and I had recently purchased toe straps and put them on our bikes. In case you don't know, toe straps are like a cage that bolts onto the bike pedals that you slip the front of your shoe into.
Yeah.
They're called seriously dangerous straps.
Yeah. The intention of them is so that you can push down.
It says there.
It does.
There's also a strap. It's a strap that can be tightened against your shoe with a quick release mechanism to get your foot out easily. This keeps your foot firmly in the pedal, allows you to pull up with one foot while the other is pressing down. And we found that they greatly increased our pedaling efficiency. So it's a twin thing. Because they've discussed this. Later, one of our friends decided he wanted to try it out as well, but being the mad scientist of the group and apparently poor, the group decided he decided that he wasn't going to buy them. He was going to make his own. So he decided to use baling twine, which was in abundance as he lived in a farmhouse. See? So he took the twine, he wrapped it around the pedal and his foot. So he basically lashed himself to the pedal. He did the same for the other foot. How he did this, I did not know, because it is impossible to balance a bike without moving. But at any rate, he got them both strapped in and he took off down the road. The first few pedals were great, but then he noticed something. With each pedal, the straps were getting tighter. He tried pedaling backwards to see if that would loosen them. No luck. He had to decide what to do because apparently that wire had gotten caught in the pedal. Remember when your shoestring would do that?
Yeah. I was just thinking that. The shoestring or your pant leg would get stuck in the chain.
Yeah. Or in the pedal mechanism, you know, and you would turn, and every time you would turn, it would just pull that thing tighter and tighter.
And your foot permanently became a part of the pedal.
The first few pedals were great, but no luck. He had to decide what to do. Turning around to try to get back home wasn't going to work as it had a slight incline, which meant more pedaling. So he kept coasting and only pedaled enough to keep his balance. The road leveled and he slowed more and more. And when he could no longer balance the bike and he felt like his toes were about to be cut off, he laid the bike over and fell into the ditch. Now he was stuck in a ditch, contemplating his poor life choices with his feet firmly attached to the bike's pedals. He finally got his feet out of his shoes and just pushed his bike back home. He never did get real toe straps. He also never tried baling wire again.
Oh, man.
We also never saw him outside of his home. So
he didn't have any feet left because the baling wire.
He had no toes. And then he took his shoes off and the toes stayed in the shoes.
He went on to create clips that you clip your shoes into.
Yeah. He went from a size 10 down to a size 8. He lost 2 inches of toes.
We called him Pinky from there. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense.
Oh, maybe his pinky toe survived.
I know
a man that only has half of his big toe because he was pushing a lawnmower up a ditch and then tripped and fell back and the thing rolled back over his foot. And he heard this little tink and his toe tip went flying off into the ditch and
couldn't find it.
Toe. No, he still has half a toe to this day.
He cutting in like his bare feet.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, see, okay.
You never cut the lawn in your bare feet as a child?
No,
Oh,
no
boy.
way.
I did.
My mom was a nurse. She'd tell me horror stories about people getting hurt. I didn't want to do anything as a kid. Oh,
Yeah. You had a mom that loved you. That's the thing. My mom just wanted the grass cut. She
yeah.
didn't care.
Go on there, cut the grass. I don't care if you put shoes on.
Oh man. Yeah, my mom would not, I don't know. She wouldn't even make us bring our bikes in. She's like, if they get stole, if they get out there and get rusty, it's your bike.
Oh man. How many times did your bike get run over because you left it on the
Left 'em
driveway?
in the driveway.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I remember getting cussed out more than once by my stepdad.
Mm.
So he was the one that would never look.
Yep.
I think moms know to look.
Yeah. Well, I would put mine behind the car in such a way that you couldn't see it at all, apparently. And I can't tell you how many times I had wobbly tires because just the tire would get run over.
Yeah. But as long as it didn't touch that fork in the front, that tire
Right.
could wobble. It had room for wobble.
That's right.
That reminds me of a story of a friend of mine. He had kids, and they were, 6 and 8. And he would yell at them, bring the bikes in the garage, and they would. And he gets to work, and he notices somebody must have keyed his car. So he's kind of mad about it. He was talking about it at a staff meeting.
Oh.
But every day, the scratches would get worse. And he just happened to be out there, and he tells his kids, bring your bikes in the garage. Don't leave them out there. I told you.
Mm.
And they're walking them in, and that
handlebar.
handlebar scraping down the side of that car, leaving a nice fresh scratch down that black shiny car.
Yep.
Kids, man.
Kids don't care. They don't know.
They're the worst.
They're the ones that open their car doors into my vehicle in the parking lot.
I was riding my kid on my sister on my Schwinn, and we were going to go around the block. Never allowed to go around the block, but I knew we couldn't get lost because as long as I kept going right,
Yeah.
we were just going to end up right back at the house.
Sure.
So
Makes sense.
she's got no shoes on. I've got no shoes on.
No.
She's sitting there. She's holding on to that back handle behind her. She's got her legs splayed out, right?
Uh-huh.
Everything is going great. I take that first turn. It's the first of 4, right? And I take that second turn. We are as far away from the house as possible. Everything is going fine. That third turn, we're starting to come back toward the house, and all of a sudden the bike just stops.
Why did it stop?
It skidded to a stop. And my sister goes, "Ah!" And I try to go forward. It won't go forward. I try to go back. It won't go back. I get off the bike. I look because she's screaming and pointing. Her foot had gotten caught in the spokes.
Huh? How?
She must have been kicking or flailing.
Oh.
And the spokes had dug into her flesh.
Like
Like a filleted fish.
No.
It was pink skin flap.
Why are you telling me this?
Because it was gross. And it
I
hadn't
wanna
started
know it.
bleeding yet.
It hadn't started bleeding yet.
And of course, my first thought was, we got to get home.
Yeah.
So I pulled her foot out of the spokes, and I said, just keep your legs out. And because I still talk like a hillbilly back then. And my second thought was, we just went around the block. And my sister got hurt. We got to make up a story.
Oh no.
And I'm stupid, right? Because I'm a stupid kid. And it couldn't just be that we were riding back and forth in front of the house and this happened.
No, of course not.
I had to find a way to explain why we had been around the block.
Uh-huh.
For some stupid reason, I couldn't lie about it like a normal human. I had to try to explain it. So I came up with this story that someone had tried to steal my bike.
Oh.
And me and Amy had chased them around the corner and ended up on the wrong side of the block. And then when we caught him, he ran away and we had to ride the bike home. And unfortunately, Amy's foot got caught in the spokes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did she buy it?
No,
No.
not even a little bit. So
What'd
she
she
took care of
say?
Amy. Amy got off fine. Amy was the youngest.
Did she have to have
Amy-
stitches?
No, butterfly Band-Aids. My mom never took us to the
Okay.
hospital.
Okay.
Couldn't afford
Okay.
that.
Sure.
So about 4 or 5 butterfly Band-Aids later, James got his butt tore up for going around the block on a bicycle.
If only you had a passport to put back there, Keith.
If only I had been a better liar. I became a better liar, but I was not a better liar at that point. So anyway, I got some more stories, but I'm going to save them for the after party.
Okay.
Quick announcement. Check out our merch at merch.thatstoryshow.com, especially if your kid loves this show. Maybe it's time for you to buy him a t-shirt or a hoodie or something like that.
Ooh, something fun.
Announcing our next theme show. It's going to be at the end of January. It's holiday stories. So you're making these stories right now. Maybe you've got something from Thanksgiving. Christmas is coming up soon. Merry Christmas, by the way. Happy
Merry
Kwanzaa.
Christmas.
Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Whatever you're celebrating, I hope it goes very well for you. But you're making stories right now. New Year's Day is coming and going to go. And we want your stories. So as they happen, write them down. Put them in your to-do list and remind yourself, leave a Google Keep or a notepad open or talk into your phone and tell Siri you need to remember this thing that happened, because you're going to send it in to thatstoryshow.com and go to submit a story and send that story in. It'll be great. What was your worst gift that you ever got? Maybe you got one from childhood. Maybe you're making one this year. What was your best surprise? What was the best or worst white elephant gift you ever gave or got? How did you find out about Santa? What kind of weird family traditions do you have? What about Christmas play drama?
Oh, man, I got a couple of those.
Misheard Christmas Carol lyrics, snowball fights. You ever? I don't have any snowball fight stories.
Nope.
But maybe you do. Sneaking in to find presents. I did that a few times.
My wife was the queen of it.
I was quite successful once I found out my parents had a closet. So, yeah.
You would get to them before they were wrapped.
We also have something we're wanting to do at the beginning of the year, because we're going to be down December 26th and January 2nd. We'll be back on the 29th, and we are going to give away as many free gift memberships as we can get. Here's the deal.
Nice.
You can join Patreon or give the gift of membership at patreon.com/thatstoryshow/gift. Okay. We've already gotten 4 of these.
Nice.
People have reached out and they said, James, I want to bless the middle schoolers. I said, well, we have a lot of middle school listeners. About 40% of our audience is middle schoolers, and they can't afford to become a full member. They can't be a supporting listener. So maybe some of the adults out there would sponsor a few middle schoolers. We got 4 right now. I'd love to give away 5 to 8 to 10. Okay.
Well, that would be fun.
So middle schoolers, you underprivileged, poor little people that listen to our show, how do you get one of these? Well, this is the deal. We're going to announce it on the 9th. Okay. So between now and then, all you have to do is submit a story.
Oh.
The trick is it has to be a story that makes me LOL.
Oh.
So you can't put in your usual crap. I fell off my bike. I hope this makes it on the show. Ding. You have to tell me a good story that makes me laugh. And we have 4 right now. The first 4 good stories will win those first 4 memberships. If we have 5, the first 5. If we have 10, the first 10. So how do you know if you're going to win one? You'll find out when I read your story and announce your name and the person who sponsored you on the show on January 9th, 2025. How does that sound?
That sounds like
one of the greatest things we've ever done.
I think so.
Yeah.
On January 9th,
yep,
2025.
Yes.
We will give them all away.
Man,
So that means they need to be sending in stories all over their Christmas break right now. Because I know you kids are getting out.
Starting now, pause the show, send in a good story.
Don't wait until January 8th to send your story in either, because it might be too late.
Definitely don't wait till the 9th. That I don't read stories on the 9th. I put the show together a couple of days before the 9th. So do not wait. And if you are someone that wants to sponsor, please do so. Go to patreon.com/thatstoryshow/gift and you'll sign up. Say for the cheapest, one, do it. And it's an annual gift. So you'll do annual, and then you will email me the link, and that gives me your name. And if you want to write a message for me to read, do that as well. So far, like I said, 4 people have done that. We have 4 to give away. I'd love to do 10. I'd love to give away 10 middle schoolers the opportunity to hear all of our bonus content and all that kind of stuff. I think it would be great.
Yeah, we teach many great things in that bonus show.
Yeah, it is a teachable moment. Matter of fact, last episode, that because I released the secret behind the scenes footage.
Oh, I haven't listened to that yet.
Last 2 episodes. Yeah. So if you like what you hear, man, you want to be part of our bonus content. So join or give the gift of membership. Patreon.com/thatstoryshow/gift. This podcast is made possible because of our supporting listeners on Patreon. Supporting listeners get ad-free listening, swag, and a weekly bonus podcast. Try it out free for 7 days. Support.thatstoryshow.com. Thank you to Michelle for becoming our latest Patreon and supporting listeners. Thanks to our producers, James Spangler, Kerry Wright, and Christopher Tynan. Guys, it's time for us to get out of here. Do you have a story that you'd like featured in a future episode? Submit your story at thatstoryshow.com. And while you're there, join our mailing list for the latest updates. Take a moment and leave a review on iTunes or Spotify. And remember, when something weird, annoying, embarrassing, or painful happens to you, don't get stressed. Don't get depressed. Just think, hey, this belongs on That Story Show. We'll see you guys next week. God bless.
Bye.
Oh.
I'm getting revved up.
Yeah.
I see it.
It was just me and Sweetie. We were both on a bike. I thought we were safe, but I said, oh, Mike, there's a SUV and it's looking at me. You better drive real fast or it'll bump me on my butt. I wish it wasn't this way, but it is, 'cause every day I gotta plan something or it's not a vacation for me. 'Cause I'm a little bee, I gotta move it like I move it every day. I didn't mean it that way, it meant like a buzzing bee. But John heard it and I said it accidentally. But now a big fireman's coming to get me, and my daggers are coming out my boyfriend's eyes like Mick Jagger. And now I'm done, got no more rhymes to give. Bicycle stories, that's just the way that we live. And every single one was great in its own way. But I gotta go, 'cause I can no longer stay. That's what you get when I don't have time to write one.
Are you kidding? I thought you did right.
Oh, no, dude.
I was so impressed that you saw me laughing. It's like, wow, he knew I was going to laugh.